Hey everyone, welcome back to Ride or Die Canine Academy. Grace here to answer some of the raw feeding questions that you guys posted on our Facebook and emailed us and just sent our way when we asked you. So I want to give everybody a shout out who sent us questions because without you we couldn't make this video. So let's get started. First question, why do you feed raw? Well, the long and the short of it is that we have a lot of dogs, and a couple of our dogs started showing signs that they weren't doing too well on kibble. They were having itchy skin, dry skin, their ears were irritated, they were chewing at their paws, hot spots, just things that would make you wonder what's wrong. So we started doing a little bit of research, and thanks to two of our, I don't know if you call them subscribers, but really friends of ours, Billy Ray and Giovanni, we started switching over to raw because they were telling us how all of the processed fillers and everything in the dog foods, even the really good foods, can cause issues with the dog's stomachs and coats and everything else just from the processing. So we started feeding a couple dogs raw and realized their coats were getting shinier, they were leaning out, they were becoming more muscular, they weren't having these issues, their ears were getting better, they're paying attention more, and just how they were doing so much better. So then we started looking more into kibbles and what's in them on a more specific level, the hydrolyzed proteins and everything, and realizing you just can't get better than fresh food. It's really equivalent to eating McDonald's versus eating fresh fruits and vegetables and meats. You just feel better. You just do better on it. There's really no other way to describe it. So we put all of our dogs on raw, and they've all done amazing since. Another subscriber asked, should we switch to 100% raw over a raw blend or a supplement with their kibble? That is a really good question. So we've had a lot of people who ask us for supplements, or they'll buy the raw food and to try to stretch it out using kibble. And when we realize this, a lot of people will be like, oh, my dog did so well on the raw, but they're still having these problems. And we've actually had to work with people, and then we're trying to figure out what is wrong, if they're allergic to the protein, what's really going on. And then towards the end, they're like, oh, well, we still add kibble to it because we want to stretch the raw. That is like eating a protein smoothie in the morning, having an apple for your midday snack, a salad for lunch, and then getting fried chicken nuggets and basically just like a big combo for McDonald's for dinner, and wondering why your skin's still breaking out and why you can't lose weight. It really is like eating great for part of the day and just going home and just forgetting your diet after 5 p.m. There is no way to really reap the complete benefits of raw food if you're still adding proteins that your dog is either allergic to or that just don't agree with his system as well. Because you have to get all of the junk out of your dog for them to stop having issues with the kibble. So for that, I would say, if your dog does well on kibble, use a supplement. You know, they'll get extra vitamins, they'll get minerals, they'll do great. But if your dog isn't doing as well on kibble as you would like, switching to raw and adding kibble is not going to help them. And I know it can be more expensive, but that's just kind of how it is. That's why people seek out this diet. That's why we did. We can't add kibble to a dog's diet if he's allergic to kibble. It doesn't work. All right. How do you know the dogs are getting a complete nutritional blend? In addition to the many, many months of research, including books and websites and talking to various professionals on this topic, including veterinarians, we switched our dogs to raw and then brought them to the vet and had them tested and made sure that they were getting all of the vitamins, minerals, that they weren't deficient in anything. Because we need to make sure that our dogs are performing at their best. And also, you know, Royce is one of our studs, or he is our foundational stud at this point. We need to make sure he's as potent as possible to drop litters so that you guys get your puppies. So we need to make sure they're healthy and they're producing in every sense of the word. So when we brought them to the vet and they told us, your dogs are doing great, don't change a thing, we realized we had a great formula. And we do have, we do change up our vegetables every so often. But other than that, everything is perfect, and it's all in there. You do not need anything else. We add a supplement in there for the vitamins and minerals that they would need that, kibble wouldn't give them, and also maybe complete fresh ingredients wouldn't give them. But it really is just kind of like taking a multivitamin. You can eat salad, you can have vegetables, you can have everything you need in your diet, even as a person, but you still take a multivitamin. It's the same thing. This was one question that I got in my inbox that I really had a difficult time explaining, so I'm really glad that I get to address it on camera. Why can't I just feed my dog beef? Why do I need the rest, and how often do I need the rest? So what happened was this gentleman wanted to feed his dog raw, so he just started feeding him ground beef and couldn't understand why, well, if I'm feeding my dog raw, why do I need the rest? Saying, dogs in the wild eat raw. Why can't you just feed them raw? And the mechanics of it can be broken down like this. The modern dog is not a wolf. They need things that wolves don't necessarily need for a modern lifestyle. They're in houses. They're not in dens. They do need extras. They've evolved, as have we. So when wolves go out, they eat raw meat and all that, but then they'll also eat berries if they get hungry. They'll come across other things. So they do need other things besides just what meat provides. But when they do eat that meat, they're getting various types of protein, including bones. Bones are huge for raw feeding. You have to have bone. That is what makes your dog's poo solid, so he won't have accidents in the house and he won't be sick. Bones provide calcium, they provide trace vitamins and minerals. They provide, I want to say, most of their nutritional needs aside from the proteins. Bones are essential. And the thing about that is you have to feed raw bones. I don't know if, a lot of people don't know this. Chicken bones, you can feed them raw, but you cannot feed them cooked. They will splinter and they will tear your dog's insides apart. But they're amazing raw, and they have a lot in them that dogs need raw. So when you cook the food, they won't be able to eat these bones. But when you give it to them raw, they need the bone. So when you're feeding a dog, you can't just feed them ground beef. There's no bone. It's not the right kinds of bones. It's not the kind of bone that a dog could walk up to and just eat because it's not soft enough. But at the same time, if you cook the chicken bone, they can't eat that either because it's fatal. So in addition to the fruits and the vegetables that dogs need for their diet just as they've evolved, they also, and wolves as well, will eat some of this stuff. They also need just all of the foundational things that they could have in the wild that they would seek out, that we then need to do the research for them and feed them because they're inside your house and they're not seeking things out. The chicken doesn't smell good to them. Whatever you feed them is going to smell good to them, and they trust you. So you have to make sure that you're giving them everything they need. If you do try to feed your dog ground beef and just ground beef, it will not work. They'll get very sick. Oh, here's a good one. My vet told me my dog needs grains in his diet to prevent cardiomyopathy. Do I need both? No. So there have been a couple studies, and it's not my profession, so I can't speak too much on that, but I did go through some of the studies, the ones that are often cited by veterinarians, and it was breed specific and in a very finite, small amount of dogs that they said, they got cardiomyopathy because they didn't have grain in their kibble or food. They're getting grain-free. From what I saw, there were so many variables that affected this study that it didn't seem logical to me that they could say exactly, yes, this is the reason why your dog has cardiomyopathy. They just went, in this many dogs that didn't have grain in their food, this many had cardiomyopathy. In this many dogs that had grain in their food, this many had cardiomyopathy. Too many variables throughout a dog's life are present for that to be a finite answer. It's a possible connection, but it could also have a lot to do with breeding, bloodlines, the breed of the dog, the lifestyle of the dog, the activity of the dog. Again, if they're genetically predisposed to it, what kibble they were fed. A lot of grain-free kibbles, again, don't give them everything they need. They could have been deficient in something else entirely that maybe grain did give them in some instances, maybe it didn't. And then people are coming out saying, oh, well, this is the reason. There is no way to completely pinpoint the reason. Think about everything that's happened to your dog from when they're a puppy to an adult. There's no way to completely control that, so you don't know. We have never had an issue with it. We have never met anybody who feeds raw who's had an issue with cardiomyopathy. It's up to you. A lot of veterinarians will tell you you need grains. A lot of veterinarians will also follow that with, and we sell this kibble that will help your dog. And sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. It seems more to me like marketing a lot of times, but to each their own. I am not a veterinarian and I can't formally speak on the topic aside from this. But we've never had an issue. We don't know anybody who's had issues. To me, it doesn't seem like much of a concern. Seems more like marketing. Again, okay, so one person said that they found a unprocessed dog food that was a cooked dog food. Well, cooking is processing, but they said that it's a fresh food that's cooked, and they feel better about feeding their dog that because of salmonella and all of the other foodborne illnesses. Dogs do not get salmonella. Dogs are meant to be fed raw in an ancestral standpoint, or from an ancestral standpoint, from a health standpoint. Dogs' digestive tracts are geared towards raw. They don't contract salmonella. They don't contract a lot of the foodborne illnesses that you or I would if we were to eat raw meat. Meat can also sit longer with dogs, and they can eat it and not get the illnesses because they're not getting the parasitic effects that we would get. Cooked food does not contain all of the vitamins and minerals and nutrients and everything that a dog needs. It just doesn't. They are not people. Their digestive tract is a completely different type of system than ours. Cooked food is not going to provide everything they need. It's just how it is. If people want to go that route, I would definitely recommend getting your dog tested regularly, feeding them supplements, doing everything you can to make sure they're not missing anything. But from what I've seen and from what I've researched, I do not recommend feeding a dog exclusively cooked food. It cooks nutrients out of the food that they need, basically is what it is. Nutrients that we don't necessarily need, that we need cooked, they need, and it's being depleted through the cooking process. It's a form of processing that just doesn't work. All right. Let me see this. So many questions. I can't answer all of these questions today. I'm just going to answer one or two more, and then we're going to do some more videos specifically tailored to breeding programs, show programs, sporting programs, pets. We're going to do more specific videos. This is just what we've gotten and what we can answer right now. Okay, so how will this affect my dog? How will raw feeding affect my dog? They'll be leaner, they'll be more muscular, their coat will be softer, they'll be healthier. Let's see. Their cognition will improve. Again, it's like eating McDonald's versus eating fresh food. You know, if you eat out all the time, you start to feel sluggish, a little gross, can't think as clearly, and then you have a steak and a salad or whatever your meal of choice is, and you start feeling better. It's the same with dogs. Whenever we have a dog that comes for our board and train program, they're fed raw. If the owners are good with it, they're fed raw right off the bat because we've noticed that it helps them learn a lot faster, which is really beneficial for puppies. It's really beneficial for sporting dogs, for show dogs, especially show dogs where their coat and their physique is what determines whether or not they get championed or whether they get cast aside for another dog. Well, thank you guys for all of your questions. That's all we have time for today, but we will be coming out with more specific videos and even more general videos if we get enough questions for people that just need them answered now, we will definitely come out with a part 2. But I hope this helped you. If you guys have any other questions, again, please message us, comment, engage. Whatever you need, we want to make sure that we're addressing and that we can help you with. That's why we're here. So as always, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. Stay tuned for more puppy updates, for more training updates, nutritional videos, and we are really excited. We're going to be feeding our next litter completely raw. So if you're interested in puppies and raw food, we're going to be doing a lot with that. So thank you for watching and stay tuned. Bye guys.